Hey, what's up? It's your man, Big Jack StoryTime, and this is the Big Jack StoryTime Show. I'm your man again, Big Jack StoryTime, and I'm coming to you live on YouTube, live on Facebook. And for those who are watching on the Big Jack Storytime YouTube channel, welcome, welcome, welcome to you all. And those who are watching on the Sharpening Iron Universe channel, welcome, welcome, welcome all. And those who are watching on Facebook, I again say welcome, welcome, welcome all. I am super excited about being here today. I just wanted to come in and discuss with you about some things. This is a new concept. This is a different concept. This is Big Jack Storytime Show. I know we got so many other things going on in the Iron Sharpening Iron universe, and I don't want to take away from any of the things that we got going on. So you got to really look at the universe. Go to that universe channel. If you are not already a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. If you're not already, if you haven't hit the like button, the follow button, and the notification bells, hit all of those things so that you'll know what's going on in the universe and on the Big Jack Storytime channel. I'm coming to you today because I know tomorrow is the NFL draft, the round one of the NFL draft for 2026. And I want to talk to you, especially mostly parents and even kids that have that desire to get to the next level. And it's really this focus. Today's show was about being an athlete, a student athlete, more in the high school level, and your chances of making it to the next level, which is the collegiate level, and then the level after that, which is the professional level. And just want to break it down. I know we got the big four sports out there, and if it's a way to talk about the big four, I want to talk about the big four being football, baseball, basketball, and ice hockey. Those are the big four professional sports that you might be watching right now. We got baseballs being played right now in the regular season. The NBA is in their playoff season, and the NHL is in their playoff season. And then football, of course, tomorrow will be doing their draft. So they all run pretty much close to each other as far as you go from one season to the other season. And if you're a true fan, you just bounce around. And if you're an athlete, a lot of athletes, especially in the high school level, they're bouncing around from sport to sport to sport because you're in one season and going to the next season. And but the big thing to know about that, and the one thing that you want to focus on, especially when you're in the high school level or haven't even made it to the high school level, because you want to start building that that mindset of knowing that you are a student athlete. You're a student first and then an athlete. And because of that, a lot of times people miss the I'm a student first, and they find themselves ineligible to participate in the sports that they really want to participate in. And it's not all about sports when you're in school. Sometimes you belong to different clubs, you belong to different groups and things like that, but you still got to have the grades. Most school systems around the country require that you have at least a C average, which is a 2.0 average, to even participate in those activities. So that's the big thing when you're in elementary and middle school. And it might not be counting, but if you're playing sports or in any type of activities, start getting in that mindset. Don't, if as a parent talking to your kids, don't allow your kids to participate in an activity if they can't have their grades up. Use the grades as a way to say, hey, if your grades are less than 2.0, if you have a D or an F or whatever, or E, you can't participate, because if you're building that right relationship with being a student who's an athlete, you're building that relationship between the teacher and the student, and the teacher and the coach, and the player and the coach, so that the kids know that I got to get my grades first before I get on the field. There's nothing worse than being the fastest, the strongest, and the best player in the school and not eligible to play the sport. And I'm telling you from true fact, because I know when I was in high school, and my ninth grade year was the first year that I had to really needed a grade to play, but when the baseball season came, I wasn't eligible. So I had to sit out that baseball season. And that was a killer to me because I had been playing a long time. I mean, I was playing baseball since I was 8 or 9 years old. but then it was the first time that I didn't have the grades. Now, during that time when I was in high school, ninth grade, they required you to have two quarters, meaning that you had to have a combination of the second and third quarter is what gave you the grades you needed for to play baseball. And yeah, I didn't. I had one quarter was good, and the second quarter wasn't. So that's part of me learning. That never happened again. So my 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade year, I didn't have that problem anymore. But that is one of the biggest things that happen to a lot of student athletes. They get caught up in changing classes, the semester change, teachers changing, and not holding on to the life lesson. When I got the opportunity, and I was truly blessed to get to the next level and go and play at Division I college sports, I didn't have the mentality. I didn't have the discipline of being a student. I honestly believe that the school, and that's on me as well, but they don't prepare you for college. My teachers at that time was more focused on me being a player, more focused on me being on the field, but not so much focused about being able to handle college classrooms. So yes, I was able to handle my high school classrooms, but when I got to college, it was a world of different. And because of that, I found myself struggling a lot. The good thing that the school that I went to, they had tutoring and a lot of other programs to help me get through the classes. But with that being said, it was still part of me needing to grow in a way that my mindset would be different. So that's the big focus for today's show. I want to talk to you as parents, and if there's any kids out there, I want to talk to you as players or athletes to say, hey, these are some of the bullet points that I think that you should know to get yourself ready for the next level. If you're in high school right now, playing an activity, baseball, football, basketball, wrestling, track, swimming, golf, tennis, lacrosse, volleyball, any one of those sports, cheerleading, dance, any of those things, gymnastics. If you're doing that right now, these are some of the things I think you should know. These are some of the things I think you should focus on, because this is what hurts a lot of people from getting to the next level. And then it also hurts them from being successful in school, because it takes a lot out of you to be an athlete, to be in a sport, and then still have to be a student. And a lot of people just don't catch that part. So this is the opportunity to say, hey, help me learn to be that. So what's up, Poetic Tears? How you doing, Miss Poetic Tears? I'm stuck on the lyrics today. I can't get it out. Hey, so hello, Tears. How you doing? And thank you for hanging out here with me. But we're talking about student athletes. We're talking about being an athlete, talking about the parents, things they should know. And then at the same time, because we got the NFL draft coming up tomorrow. So that's like, hey, that'd be a good topic to talk about, something to share. So number one on my list of bullets that you should know is like talent will get you noticed. Your talent will get you noticed, but your discipline will keep you there. See, and that's the part right there. So being talented, being able to run a ball, being able to run fast, being able to jump high and all that, that'll get you noticed, but it's your discipline that will keep you there. You have to, hit the weight room hard. You have to hit the books hard. You have to eat right, diet and exercise, proper rest, staying out of trouble, staying out of situations and things that might get you messed up. All of that is discipline that you have to worry yourself about. I don't say worry yourself about, but concern yourself with, because of the simple fact that those are the things that will get you off the field faster than anything in the world. Staying healthy to a point that you're not going to, put yourself in a position to be injured. Being in the weight room, conditioning, strength and conditioning, getting stronger, faster, bigger, stronger, faster, eating the right diet, not a lot of junk food and stuff like that, especially if you're trying to be an athlete. Staying away from tobacco products and stuff like that, because you're out there hustling, you're out there running. You need all energy, all the lung capacity, everything you got, you need that while you're out there on the field. So being talented, or talent will get you noticed. You can be talented and people were like, hey, look at that person over there. But it's your discipline that will be the separator. Your discipline will be the thing that gets you out on the field. So most athletes rely on talent early. But the next level, I mean, this is the whole thing. Everybody at the next level is talented. Everybody at the next level is really, really good. So you're talking in high school, you might be the greatest and the best player that ever came in your high school. But when you get to the next level, and the next level would be college, everybody on your team was the best player in their high school. So it's not like you're really, you're not going to have that advantage of being that using what I did in high school as your advantage or as your way of getting by, because everybody has that talent. Everybody's good. Colleges are not just giving out scholarships and money to anybody. They're giving out to the best players that they could find all over the country. So that's another thing too. When you're in your high school, you're really just playing against the kids in your county, maybe the kids in your state. But when you get to the college level, you're playing against the kids in the nation, kids in the world. So those are things that you have to realize in yourself, saying, hey, check it out. Yeah, I'm talented and that got me noticed and that got me to the next level, but it's your discipline. The discipline that's going to keep you on the field, that's going to keep you on the team, that's going to keep you in the classroom, in the books, and eligible to continue to play. So parents, if you're out there and you're listening to this, that's the big thing to talk with your kids. It's one thing to, like I said, I know I had it 100%. I had the big head, 100%. I had the big head. I thought I was the best thing out there. I thought I was, and that's great to have that positive mindset. I'm not telling you to go out there and think little of yourself, but you also got to think within reason with yourself. It's one thing to be good at what you do, is another thing to be conceited about what you do. I had a confidence that I can get if you gave me the ball, I was going to get you the yards that you were looking for. If someone came my way, I was going to, make my tackle or whatever I had to do. I knew that if you pitched me the ball, I was going to hit it. I had the confidence that those things was going to happen. But you don't want to be conceited where you're at the point that you're thinking you're better than everybody else on your team. It's a team effort. Everybody's on the team. Everybody on the team is doing their thing, trying to be their best. Everybody's on the team trying to win, and sometimes you're going to win and sometimes you're going to lose. That too, being a good winner and loser is part of discipline. Not getting all upset if the play is not your way, or if you don't get a call, or if the umpire calls a strike when you think it's a ball. It's like move on to the next spot and continue to move. And that's part of life. When you're a student athlete and you're out there playing, and I'm so proud and so excited for these guys that's getting ready to get on the stage tomorrow, first round draft and this and that for the NFL. Because you're an elite person, you're at a position, you're at a point where a lot of people can't say that they've ever been. A lot of people can't say they've been drafted in the NFL or the NHL or the MLB or the NBA. So for anyone to say they have that, that's huge. That is huge in itself. I don't care what round it is. I don't care even if you didn't get drafted, but you got picked up as a free agent. That level is huge to be a professional athlete. And I got some stats that I'm going to share with you on that part. But the other part to that is, let's get to the first one. Your talent will get you noticed, but it's your discipline that will keep you there. So, and that's getting to the next level. The separator is consistent work, ethics, habits when nobody's watching. And that's the big thing right there. That's part of the discipline. So parents, talking to your kids, let your kids watch this show. It's what you're doing when nobody's watching. When nobody's watching, are you still doing the right thing? Are you cutting corners and cheating the system when nobody's watching? As they say, when the cat's away, the mice will play. See, that's where you see the big separator. A lot of people are athletic, but a lot of people are not athletes. And that's the big difference. And an athlete, you will see the difference. Being athletic is you have the talent to do it all. You got the ability to run fast, jump high, and all of that. But you don't have the discipline of an athlete to move to that next level. And that's why so many people don't make it. I mean, they're really, really good, and you see so much hope in them, even in the boys' club and tearing the gym up in the Y and the rec centers and all of that. And then you say, what happened? And they didn't go to college, they didn't make it to the next level. And you're like, man, what happened to them? And a lot of times it's just that, the discipline. So grades matter more than you think. And that's one thing 100% you got to tell your kids, parents, if you're talking to any kid that's a student athlete, grades matter more than you think. Coaches aren't just recruiting athletes, they're recruiting students that they can trust. That's the big thing. Think about it. When you're in high school and they're getting ready to move you to the next level, that's still school. You're going to college. That's a higher education. So if you struggled in high school, and just think when you get to college, your grades still matter. The difference here now is that's not a teacher that's just in the school system trying to get a paycheck or whatever. And not saying that we have some really good teachers out there, and I thank God for all of the teachers that dealt with me and dealt with my discipline. But when you get to the college level, you're looking at a college professor teaching a class, and they're like the subject matter expert on a class. I remember being in college and had a debate basically with my biology tutor, and I'm like, because over a test question, and I'm like, it wasn't in the book. I studied the book, blah blah blah, and college tutor said it was like it is in the book. I know it's in the book, and I'm like, it's not in there. I studied, I read the book, I read the whole chapter. It's not in there. And like, I know it's in there because I wrote it. So my college tutor was also a professor and was also one of the authors of the book that we were studying. So it's one of those things where that's another level of not just your athletic ability, but as a student, you're in higher education. And because you're there, you're dealing with subject matter experts in the fields that they're teaching. You're talking a college professor teaching the class, writing papers and books, and speaking on the circuit and things like that about that subject. So you're not going to go in there and just be able to blow smoke. They're not going to just go ahead and give you certain grades. What do you need? I need a B in this. And that happened to me a lot when I was in high school. I would go into my math class and they say, hey, what do you need? Well, to get 2.0, I need a B. I didn't do the B work, but I got the B grade, and it was great because I got to play in high school. But it was really a downfall when I got to the college level. So just knowing that your grades matter more than you think. Coaches aren't just recruiting athletes; they're recruiting students that they can trust. Bad grades, fewer offers, no matter how good you are. If you do not have the grades, you will not go to the next level. 100%. I can almost promise you, you won't go. Not where you want to go. Now, I'm not saying that you couldn't get to the next level, but if you're talking about, I'm going to a D1 school, Division One school, Division 1A school, and you don't have at least a 2.0 average, a C average, and you got to have a certain scores, ACT and SAT. If you don't have that, nobody's going to pick you up. They're not going to pick you up. They're not going to pay 70, 80, 90,000 dollars to get you into their school when they know that you're not going to make it. I mean, it's almost impossible if you got bad grades in high school to then turn around and say, I'm going to get good grades in college. It's almost impossible. Because if that's the case, you could have got the good grades while you was in high school. So for anybody who think that grades don't matter, I'm just going to make it to the pros. There's nowhere that you can go. Baseball, I believe, is the only sport, and maybe hockey. And I'm had the hockey, and I had to check on that you can bypass college and go straight in. But even with that, though at that level, you got to be really, really good to come out of high school and go straight into a professional league. But then at the same time, they're still looking for people that they can trust, meaning it's got that discipline to do the work that they got to do to get good grades. And that's it is nothing else we can do about that. That's the bottom line right there. So knowing that's the bottom line, saying, hey, this is the bottom line. I gotta have my grades and I'm gonna get my grades. So parents, if you're talking to your kids, if you listen to this, your grades do matter way more than you think for sure. Exposure is strategy, not luck. So if I had to have another three, you want to be exposed. You want to, the more you're out there, the more you put yourself out there, the better opportunities you will get. And how do you put yourself out there? Um, is going to certain camps, being on the field when you're there, practicing real hard, when the play's not yours, when you're out there and I was a running back, I was a fullback when I was in high school, fullback when I got to college. Yeah, it's going to be a pass play, and I know I'm not going to get the ball, but I'm still going to block as hard as I can. I'm gonna run down the field and maybe help out with a down the field block or whatever, because you'd be totally surprised how that action might get you noticed, even if a college coach or another coach is watching from just watching film, scouting your team for the next upcoming game. They might see something they really like and say, hey, who's that player right there? And I want to talk to them because you're out there hustling. So exposure is strategy. It's not luck. You want to get yourself out there. If the coach is saying, I need a volunteer, volunteer. You know, so many times at practice, you want to take a chill pill and sit back and relax. No, get out there and volunteer. If he said, I need somebody to run this play, run that play. I need somebody to do this, do that. Because the more and more they see you hustling, the more and more they're going to be wanting to put you on the field. And the more time you're on the field, the more exposure you're going to get. And then from there, it's like go to different camps. You know, I tell people if you can, don't just go to those little Nike camps and stuff. And nothing wrong with that. I'm not speaking ill against Nike or any brand that have a camp, but you want to go to more of like the all-star camps or the all-American camps where you're getting a lot of exposure, a lot of people from all over the country coming in, and the camps that would have college coaches as the counselors and as the instructors, because that's another way to get the exposure, because you got actual coaches from colleges coming out. So they're doing two things. One, they might be helping you with your skills, but then the other side to that, they're going to be trying to recruit you because they're looking for people every year. Every year, colleges are looking for someone to come in to their program. And that's not even at the college level, that's at the pro level. Every year they're looking for. That's why they have a draft. That's why they have, you know, so that's the next crop of athletes for the future, and that's how you look at it like that. So I'm in a high school, yeah, I got to make my team. So you try out for the team, you make the team, and if you're on a junior varsity team, that's the JV team, your goal is to very soon get to the varsity team. You don't always want to stay on JV is a good starting point for people, but I want to get up to the varsity level because that gets you more exposure. So just know the more that you try, or even if you're on JV and you work real hard, because there's a varsity coach looking at a JV film, at a JV game, saying, hey, who's that number 35 right there, 34 right there? Bring him up here. I want him to be on the varsity. And then that's where the games, I mean, that game's in a ha laughing, joking game, but that's when it all begins and you make it to that level. So that's one big thing I would tell anybody that's out there. If you are at the varsity or JV level, you're just getting started, not just getting started, but you're in high school, young in high school, you got ambition to get to the next level. Look at yourself and say, hey, am I a varsity player? You know, because if you're not the best player in your school, if you're not starting at your school, I mean, unless you're behind some all-American players, you got to start thinking, okay, if I'm not here, how are they going to pick me up? It's very rare that the D1, D2 is going to pick you up and you're not the top athlete in your school already. So that's just something to think about when you're looking at it that way, saying, hey, you know, I want to make sure that I put myself in position and exposure is 100% the best. So go your highlight films, make sure you're getting your films, and with the way the cell phones and the cameras and all that stuff on your phone, there's no excuse for not having good highlight films or even any video on you. Going to the camps, social media, and then networking, when you get a chance. I remember 100%. I was recruited by Georgia Tech University, so that was one of the schools that recruited me. And I want to say, wait a minute, it wasn't Georgia Tech that did it, but it was North Carolina University. That's also another school that recruited me. But the coach went to go find or went to go talk to a player at a different school. The school was just down the street from where I went to high school, and it was a private school down the street from where I went to high school. And coach from North Carolina, the recruiting coach from North Carolina, came to visit that person at the private school. And when he went in and talked to the head coach, the head football coach for this private school, that coach mentioned that his player had already committed to another school. He said, but there is a player right down the road that you might want to go talk to, because this kid is, and so that's how I ended up getting recruited by North Carolina. So North Carolina University started recruiting me because another coach had noticed, or he had mentioned me, and that sent that coach down. So networking, highlights, going to camps, social media, put yourself out there, but put yourself out there in the positive way. Now, no college coach wants to see you drinking and smoking and jumping on cars and dancing and partying. They don't want to see that, because then they start thinking, is that what he's going to bring to my program? Is that what he's going to bring to my school? So don't, watch what you're posting on your social media. Watch what you're posting and the things that you associate yourself with, because those coaches are watching that. They're looking at that, because this thing is not just the coach that's going to pick you up. It's the university that's going to pick you up. So they're not going to let you give them a bad name, a bad mark. So those are things that you have to think about when you're saying, okay, I want to go to this school. I want to work. I'll be in this program, but you got to watch what you do as well. So your social media is your friend, but some of the things that you post, and I'm not saying anyone out there that's listening and watching right now post anything negative, but you got to watch what you're posting, because of the fact that it's going to be seen by more than just the people giving you likes and views. So watch that. But we thank you for right now. We're at point number 3 of my 7 points on being a student athlete, and this is the Big Jack Storytime Show. And I thank you all for hanging out with me. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Hit that like button. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button. And I'm super, super excited about the things that we're doing here in the universe, the Iron Sharpening Iron universe. And if you're watching this on the Big Jack Storytime channel, I just want to say thank you, and I want to say welcome. It's always cool to see and meet new people, and I am so grateful for each and every one of you for all that you do. And I'm really excited, and we're going to talk some more about some of the things that but I do want you to like and subscribe. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, so that we can continue to grow these channels and do what we do and be what we be. So go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And we're going to move on to the next level, the next one. So the next topic, or the next bullet, I will call it, would be let me see, the next bullet would be, for me, your attitude is always being evaluated. Your attitude, uh, body language, being coachable, how you respond to adversity, all of that is huge. I mean, coaches are looking at that, recruiters are looking at that, the next level is looking at that, the fans are looking at that, your opponent is looking at that. So your attitude is always being evaluated. If you're walking around and something happened, you walk around with your head down or looking defeated, your opponent sees that. The coaches see that. the recruiters, they see that. So you have that positive attitude, like, hey, not so much that you want to be a loser, not so much that you want to lose, but it's like that is part of the game. You do know that when you step out on the field, one team is going to win, one team is going to lose. So you want to be able to say, hey, that play is over, but the next play, I'm going to do my best. You're not going to always make a tackle. You're not going to always make a touchdown. You're not going to always hit a home run. You're not going to always pin a person. You're not going to always get a 10 on a gymnastics move. You're not going to always make the three. You're not going to always make a goal. But just knowing that I did my best, I tried my hardest, and then when that play's over, you get ready for the next play. Your attitude means a lot. It will take you further than you even imagine, because if you're putting in for a job interview or whatever, and you're standing there with that positive attitude. Remember, we talked about that, not being conceited, but being confident that I'm the best pick for this. I'm the one that you need. I'm the one you need on your team. I'm the one you need in your school. I'm the one you need in your program. I'm the one you need in your company. That's the attitude to have. That's the way to go. If you don't get the job, if you don't get if they don't recruit you, or they don't pick you out of all the recruits they had in the country, they didn't pick you, then you move to the next one. You go on to the next one. Yeah, but I had my heart set on going here, 100%. But they did not choose you. But is that the end of the world? No. It's like, man, again, I'll tell a story. When I was being recruited by Georgia Tech, I had an injury when I was in high school that was a very serious injury. And head coach of Georgia Tech at the time, he stopped recruiting me because of the injury. He was like, I would hate to be the coach that put you on the field and you got hurt worse than you are now. And for that reason, he stopped recruiting me. I don't say, I was happy, because that's the school I wanted to go to. Georgia Tech University was number one on my list. But at the same time, they said no. And when they said no, I got to learn to move on. I got to learn to say, okay, Georgia Tech didn't select me. So now I got to keep on going. Where one door closed, another door opens. And that's where, like I said, remember I just mentioned that North Carolina came out of nowhere. I mean, I wasn't picked by North Carolina. They didn't look at me throughout my season and none of that stuff. But when it was time to be recruited, and if you don't know, in college football, which I played, you only get 5 official visits. If you're going to Division One, you get 5 official visits. That's where the school pays for everything. They fly you out there, they wine and dine you. And so, to go from not even knowing who you are to one of the top 5, or one of my top 5, that was huge. And North Carolina did that, but my heart was set on Georgia Tech. I'm not even gonna say that wasn't my heart. My heart was set on Georgia Tech. Even though I finished, or finally ended up at Virginia Tech, I was definitely my heart was on Georgia Tech 100%. So, but that's just life. So just knowing that your attitude is always being evaluated. So that's with the parents. They're watching you up in the stands too. So, nothing worse than a parent, yes, your kid is out there, and yes, you love your kid, but you also know what your kid can do, and be realistic with your kid. Don't put too much pressure on them to do something that that's outside of their wheelhouse, is outside of their range. I remember coaching t-ball, and had parents. I had to talk to some parents because their kid would hit the ball off the tee and they barely roll back to the pitcher, and they're saying run like he's going to get a home run. And I'm like, no, he's going to stop it first, and we're going to play this thing right so they can learn how to play the game, not just run around in circles. Because kids just throwing the ball all over the place. Nobody was learning anything. So you had to pull it back. But trying to get those parents to realize that their kid is not going to hit a home run every time they get up. And that's a really a bad precedent to set for your kids. That's a bad thing to say, hey, every time you get up, hit a home run. It's because it's just a lot of pressure that is just not going to happen. If you have a kid that can hit a home run, that's amazing in itself. But at the same time, to say every time you get up, hit a home run, it's almost, I mean, there's not a professional in the league that does that every time they get up. Even in the home run derby, when they're getting almost like softball type pitches thrown at them, they don't hit a home run every time. So just think about that and say, hey, okay, go out there, do your best, enjoy yourself, and stay positive on no matter what happens. And your kid's going to be okay. 100%. Your kid's going to be okay. All right. So another thing, if I was throwing this out there, strength, conditioning, recovery are game changers. So hitting the weight room, running, getting some running in, working on your speed. Speed kills. 100% speed kills. If you are fast, it's hard to teach fast. Yeah, a lot of people are just fast. We can teach you techniques to get that make every move count, but fast is fast. And when you got speed and then you got strength and agility, um, man, you at the top of the food chain. I mean, really, if you got those things. So the jump from high school to college is physical. If you're not training properly, you'll get left behind or worse, injured. Because when you get to that next level, like I say, everybody up there is the best. Everybody's up there fast. Everybody's up there strong. Everybody's up there. They know what they're doing. I'm looking at high school games now, and I'm like, this like these kids first time ever doing this, ever playing. And it's okay to get a do that in high school. But when you get to college, it's very, very rare that you're going to find somebody that's their first time ever playing at the college level. Now, I did hear about a person when I was in a football camp back when I was in high school or whatever, but there was a player called Daryl Green. Well, he's still out there, but he's not a player anymore. But Daryl Green did not start playing football until he was a junior in college and end up in the pros and had one of the longest careers in NFL history. But he was fast, third and fast. I mean, he was one of the fastest in the NFL during his playing time. And that speed separates your lack of ability, if you want to look at it that way. But he was an athlete. He was already an athlete. So then all he did was change jerseys, change uniforms. He did the same thing, and we could teach you technique. So again, we can teach you technique. Coaches can teach you technique and get you ready, but that's also part of what you have to think about when you're doing certain things. Is that am I in the position to go to the next level, or am I enough of an athlete? Do I have enough strength, conditioning, and recovery to be able to do this at the next level? Doing it at high school is one thing. Doing it at college is totally different. And that's where you have to, know your limitations, but also get yourself ready for that. Get yourself ready, strength wise, conditioning wise, and recovery. And it's like, what is the recovery? You know that if you got injured, you're doing the right thing when you get home, putting ice on it, resting, heat, and wraps, and all of that other stuff so that you can get back out on the field. I tell people now, if you sprain an ankle or tweak something, a muscle or whatever, go see a sports medicine doctor, because the sports medicine doctors are a little bit different in their mindset because they're trying to get you back out on the field. So they'll treat you for things that's just going to make it a little bit faster as an athlete. So a lot of times, especially in high school and lower level, where a kid will get hurt and injuries do happen, and their parents would take them to a regular doctor. And the first thing they say is, here's some painkillers. You need, 2 weeks, 3 weeks rest. And then, and then they limit you as an athlete because 2 or 3 weeks, that's almost half the season gone. And we wasn't allowed to get back on the field with an injury that, you see professionals get back on the field the next day or the next practice, they're back out there running. And a lot of that is because there is a way. You just got to have the doctors that will show you the right way to do it. Sports medicine is the best when you're an athlete and you're in that, you get injured and you're trying to recover. Not taken away from anything a regular doctor does, but those who are specializing in sports medicine, they specialize in getting you back out on the field faster. And that's sometimes, or that is what you need when you're at that level. So, whew, man, I know I've been running my mouth and talking, and it was something that was just on my mind because I'm sitting there watching the previews as they're getting ready for the NFL draft tomorrow. And I was like, you know what? I think a lot of people need to know some of the processes of being a student athlete and working their way up to the next level. I got one more, I think, or two more I want to share with you. So parents, you play a bigger role than you realize. You got support and you got pressure. Support versus pressure, guidance versus control. You know, too many times as parents, and I'm one. I'm gonna hit myself across the chest and say I'm guilty as well. We're trying to live through our kids to get to that next level. We're trying to say, hey, do this, and this, and get to that next level. And it might not be what your kid want. So sometimes you just got to start thinking in that mindset that, is this something you really want to do? Or are you doing it because I said you're doing it or I want you to do it? Are you pushing yourself because I want you to push yourself? Because that's one thing that you will definitely that the kid will do, that the student athlete will do. They will lose the love of the game because of the pressure that we as parents put on our kids sometimes. We put so much pressure on them to be the best and be out there and do this and do that, that it's not fun anymore. And it is a game. You think about it. You got a game today? Yes, they're playing a game. And because they're playing a game, it should be some form of entertainment in that. They're entertaining the hundreds and thousands of people that's in the stands. They're entertaining, the people that's watching on TV. So it should be entertaining to them as well. And sometimes we put way too much pressure on them when, we think we're just being supportive, but you're really putting a lot of pressure on your kids. So parents, you play a bigger role than you realize. A lot of kids will work really, really hard because they know their mom or their dad is out there in the stands, their grandmother's in the stands or whatever. And it's like, so be as excited when they do well, or be excited when they do bad as you was when they did well. And then don't be that parent that, again, get caught up in wanting to fight referees and officials and this and that because of bad calls or something like that. These are human beings out there doing a job. They don't get paid a lot. The coaches don't get paid a lot. The players don't, referees and officials don't get paid a lot. And they're out there because they love the sport as well. And so give them a break. Give them a break. If you're out there fussing and arguing with an official and your kid is watching that, that's another added pressure that you just put on them because it's like, that's my mom, that's my dad, and one, they think that's okay. And the other parts of that is they got to go in there and say, okay, how embarrassing that was, or if someone came up against you. So you imagine you're up in the official face as a parent, and the official decides to push you back or whatever. Your kid's gonna think that I have to defend, I have to come in, and this is bad. I mean, there's no need for that. So I mean, I'm gonna ask, you as parents, I know, and like I say, I'm guilty of it too, because I see my kids when they were out there playing, and I'm like, man, you could be much better if you do this, this, and this. But then, the reality is let them have fun. Let them have fun. So, with that being said, comes my last point that I'm going to drop on you today. And that is have a plan B. Have a plan B. So if sports is not the way, if they're not going to make it to the next level, if they're not going to college on a full scholarship for sports or whatever, what's the plan B? It shouldn't just stop. Like, well, your life's over. You didn't go, you didn't play college football, basketball, baseball, whatever. So you're done. Have a plan B because of the fact that your opportunities are still out there. You might not have been able to go to the D1 school, but there are D2 schools, there's D3, there's JUCO, the NAIA, and there's even, like I say, life after sports. So there's also playing in the military. And I'm not talking about the academies, but even in the military, there are sports teams. So a lot of people just don't realize that, but you can be in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and play sports within the program. So if being an athlete gets just in your muscles, in your bones, and I want to do it, but I'm a soldier now, you too can still participate. So that's pretty much what I had for you. I think each and every person who came out and hung with me today, it was something that was on my mind while I was watching the previews for the NFL draft coming up. And I was like, wow. So I said I was going to share some stats, and let me pull this up real quick because I want to share a couple of things that, uh, not saying that you don't know, or sometimes people just don't know, but I just wanted to share some things that a lot of people don't realize when they're thinking about getting to the next level and stuff like that. So a lot of people just don't realize um, how many people do and how many people don't get to the next level. So let's just look at NFL football. So NFL football, of course, it was founded in 1920. There's 32 teams in the NFL right now. 250 players will get drafted each year. 250 players. There are 73,000 college football players. So the odds of you as a college football player, that's college football players, making it to the NFL is 1.6%. So only one and a half, a little bit over 1.5% of the 73,000 players will make it to the next level, make it to the NFL. And so that right there is saying 1%, just 1%. So to make it to that level, you of course got to have at least size, speed, strength. And that's going to things like the combines and some of those other camps and tryouts because you're going for a professional level. You definitely want to be in the top, the Power Five divisions. That gives you a good chance to get there. Your film exposure and scouting combines will help you get to that next level. Football IQ, having a football IQ and toughness will help you get to that level, and ability to perform under pressure will help you get to that level. So, again, 1.6% tomorrow in the beginning. So that's NFL draft. 1.6% of the 73,000 players that's in college will get a chance to be on that stage as one of the 250 players that got drafted. So that's the NFL. So if we went to the NBA, so the NBA, they have 30 teams. They only draft 60 players a year, but they only have 18,000 players in college. So it's less players, and so the odds are less. So it's 1.2% of an NBA college player, NCAA college player will make it to the NBA. Now, one of the biggest things that you run into with the college level, especially with basketball, and there's some a little bit in football, but it's more in basketball. You're also dealing with people outside of the United States. So they have a lot of European leagues or overseas teams that also find themselves in that draft. So those are the things that you also are going against when you're looking at in the basketball world. having elite skills, ball handling, shooting, IQ, the height. You're looking at the average players like 6'4". So so if you want to get to that level, you want to definitely play like AAU, some of the travel leagues, be in a lot of different clubs and camps because exposure is tough to get to that level and be there. So now baseball is one of probably the best options if you want to look at it that way. Baseball, Major League Baseball has 30 teams. They draft around 600 players a year, and there's normally around 36,000 baseball players in college, so in NCAA. So that's probably your best because it's like 10% of college baseball players will make it to the next league or the next level. But the difference with baseball is because they have their different levels because you can make it to the farm team. So you're looking at single A, double A, triple A, and then making it to the league or the making it to the big time, the major league. So there's different levels that you can go through and build yourself up so they can pick more, they can develop you and get you to that level. So, it's very rare that you're going to see someone come straight out of college and go straight into the be on the field and you're watching them on TV, night after night. So your skills, of course, pitching, hitting, fielding, whatever you are, you're going to have years in the minors to build yourself up. And, it's a mental toughness and patience because you're good. You've been playing this game for all your life, but you're just waiting for your opportunity, waiting for your chance. And that's why, I mentioned and all the other things that, your attitude and your patience and your toughness and the discipline, all of that stuff is going to come to play if you're at that level that you're on a farm team working your way up. Some farm players got injured, and so they say, "Okay, you're injured, and we're going to send you down to the farm, let you recover, and bring you back up." So so just know that there's a lot of moving around with baseball. The only other one I picked was hockey. That's because, like I say, you got those seasons playing right now. There's 32 teams in hockey. They normally draft around 224 a year, but there's 4,000, 5,000 college or junior players at the elite level. So again, you're looking at 2 to 3% of the athletes that play hockey make it to the NHL. And you gotta definitely be at least skating. You gotta be able to skate, physical and technical skill combination, being able to skate on ice, being able to control your stick and take a shot, give a shot, and you got a puck flying around at speeds that's amazing. So all of those things is what it takes to get to that level. And those were the sports. So I said I was going to drop some of those notes, facts, and figures. And with that, I'm just saying, okay, so if it's something that you have a desire, I hope this show point you in the right direction and that you can say, hey, wait a minute, I don't know if not so much I don't want to do it. I wasn't trying to discourage anybody. But what I want you to know is that, yes, you can, but at the same time, it's a lot of hard work. And not only is it a lot of hard work, you have to put in time and effort. And if you do, the rewards are yours. It's out there. So I'm wishing you all luck. Be blessed in your pursuit. Just know that there's a lot of work if you want to get to that level. This is the Big Jack Storytime Show. I am your man, Big Jack Storytime. I thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Looking forward to more and more episodes and different topics that we're going to throw your way. I'm super, super excited about everything that we're doing in the Iron Sharpening Iron universe. So continue to bear with us, continue to support us and watch us. If you have not already hit that like button, hit the like button. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, because that's how we grow and glow. And I thank you for being with me tonight. Do know that the Big Jack Storytime Show is brought to you by Boss B Productions and Boss B TV Productions. And with that being said, I'm going to roll out of here tonight. You have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed night, and we'll be talking to you, I will say, later. And hey, mate, what's going on? Let's say it's Exploradora. What's going on? How you doing? So thank you for hanging out with us or popping in and saying hey. I'm always glad to see you. We were just sitting here getting ready to close out the show. It's the Big Jack Storytime Show, but we were talking about people who have the desire of being a athlete. So you good? If you're good, I'm good. That's how it works. So or trying to be good. That's how it works. Yes, I am good, and I'm trying to be good. I'm good at it, if you want to look at it that way. So we just want to make sure that we get the message out and help people. Like I said, the NFL draft is coming up tomorrow, and some people's dreams getting ready to come true. Some people, but I wanted to make sure that while I know the draft is coming up, we also talking to you about the reality of making it to that level. It is tough. So Explorador, what's going on with you? And so tell me real quick where you at, where you located, Explorer. So where you located? Yeah. So again, thank you for hanging out with me. We can't do this. Well, I love doing this. I love getting up here and I love talking. And I'm hoping that you receive something from me, because I'm always receiving something from you. So with that being said, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to close out of this show, and we're going to say good night to you. Again, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button, and we'll be talking to you later. And until then, stay blessed, and talk to you later. Bye-bye.